I think some of our children would benefit from an apology from us where we would say, we didn't have any idea what we were doing when we gave you a phone. And now that we've seen what it's doing to you, what it's done to our relationship, we are so sorry that we gave you the freedom. And we regret that now. And because we love you so much, we've decided to make a change that initially is going to be a challenge. We're taking it back.
When we think of our kids, it's natural for us to be concerned about their mental health. And right now, so many people are pointing to the root cause being social media and technology. But what if we're missing the mark? What if that actually isn't driving the mental health crisis that we think it is? How do we know that what we're pointing our fingers at really is the issue? And what should we do as parents in the middle of all this? For some of us, it can lead us to a dark place. But today on the Celebrate Kids podcast, in this daily segment, Facing the Dark, Dr. Kathy has some great insights on how we can address, especially the social media issues that are designed to make our kids addicted to them, and how we can walk forward with our kids confidently to encourage them. So let's turn now to Dr. Kathy Cook.
Don't be afraid of the dark. Be careful with stars. Not every light is gonna guide you, baby. Not every light is gonna guide you.
So, Dr. Kathy, more than a dozen states in the United States have recently sued TikTok. They're accusing the social media platform of helping to drive mental health crises among teenagers. There's a bipartisan group of 14 attorney generals from across the nation who allege that the company really uses addictive features inside of the platform to hook children to the app, and that it has intentionally misled the public about the safety of prolonged use. TikTok called the lawsuit disappointing and said that it believes that the claims were inaccurate and misleading. But the platform is already battling a number of other issues inside of the legal system. So, Dr. Kathy, what's happening in TikTok isn't really an isolated issue, right? Like, there are other social media companies and things of that nature that are also doing this. And I would maybe even be so bold as there are other features inside of maybe culture where we do highlight or maybe even get our kids to this place where we kind of expect them to be somewhat kind of addicted as they engage it, right? We want them to enjoy going to the library. So we'll do things to try to get them to like that. And the library will do things to try to get them to come back and come back and come back. And we have the same thing with our food. Our food, is, for the most part, especially in America, has been designed so that we continue to go back for more and for more and for more. McDonald's is case in point. I can't just get 4 chicken nuggets anymore. I need to have all 8, right? Is TikTok really the scapegoat that everyone's kind of looking at here and wanting to sue and kind of address the issue and say this is the cause of all mental health issues? Or what are the real issues that kind of lie at the nature of this for all teens that we really maybe should be building some resiliency or mental toughness with them with?
Yeah, those are fair questions. Certainly, it is not all a TikTok problem. I think the fact that TikTok is arrogant and it's China owned makes it more challenging. I think the lie factor has been pretty big, and I think for our government to get as involved as it has been is serious. And they're also involved with Facebook and Instagram and other social marketing tools because we see the mental health reality of what's going on with our young adults and our teens. So yeah, there is a wider issue: manipulation, being lied to. The entertainment, happy, fun, always have to have a choice. Wasting time. Like, we're teaching our kids that time doesn't matter. Time is the most important thing we have to steward because it's limited and we don't get it back once we've used it. But we're teaching our children through these devices that they can just, blow off a couple of hours or blow off a day and, they don't feel badly for it when they could have been learning or interacting with people or having fun in an interactive way or getting vitamin D or, I could go on and on, sleeping, like, hello. So no, there's a lot wrong. And, I think I'm excited that more and more parents and educators are getting serious. I feel like, and I think you would agree that there's a stronger attention to the issues. And I think more parents are wanting to make some changes. And I realize that's going to be hard. Real issues. Maybe we've been weak at our parenting and we haven't been able to stand up and say to our kids, that's wrong and unhealthy, and we're taking it away. And I think a main reason, and I don't want that to come across as harsh, I often say that we would be like our children if we were their age now, using tech the way that they are. So it's no one's fault. We don't have to get, shame-based or upset about this. But I think that we have to be willing for our kids to get off the devices, which means we might need to entertain them more. We might need to find some board games and a good read aloud and a healthy a healthy YouTube video that we could all watch together and learn something from. We would have to get back and invested with our kids. And I think there's a lot of parents who are overwhelmed and tired and just finished, and they don't have a lot of energy left. I respect that. However, you chose to be a parent, and man, I'd love you to do it well. And to all of you who are doing it well, I'm so grateful.
I love that, Dr. Kathy. When we look at that and, we want to do it well, we want to parent well, we want to guide these kids well, is there anything that you would say we should be doing to really actually guide kids well in this cultural moment?
Implement what we teach on the podcast. How about that for a commercial? I think some of our children would benefit from an apology from us, where we would say, we didn't have any idea what we were doing when we gave you a phone. And now that we've seen what it's doing to you, what it's done to our relationship, we are so sorry that we gave you the freedom. And we regret that now. And because we love you so much, we've decided to make a change that initially is going to be a challenge. We're taking it back. It's not yours. It never was yours. We pay for it. We're taking it back. And then we maybe allow them to scroll on our phone for 15 minutes a night, or we have a computer set up in the den or the kitchen nook where they're allowed to look at, 10 minutes of an Instagram feed. Maybe they get to keep a phone that you lock down and they get on Saturday mornings only. I mean, I don't know. None of this is easy. But I do know that if we recognize we've done something that's not healthy for them and for us, we own it. We apologize. We ask to be forgiven if we feel sin was involved. In many cases, it's not sinful. It was just naive parenting. None of us knew what would happen when we gave them the portal to the world. None of us knew that things like TikTok would be invented. But now we know. So now do we love them enough to do what's hard? And do we love ourselves enough to do what's hard and put our phone in lockdown as well? So that in those waking hours, if your kids go off to school and they come home and then you're home from 3 to 7 or from 4 to 8, those are your hours. Use those well. And then when your kids are in bed, get your phone out if you need it. But what if you did a devotional with your roommate or your mate? What if you watched a great movie and laughed and cried together and you left your phone like in the cupboard?
As Dr. Kathy was talking today, it made me think of a passage that comes out of Exodus chapter 16, and I'll begin reading at verse 23. He said to them, "This is what the Lord God commanded. Tomorrow is a day of solemn rest, a holy Sabbath to the Lord. Bake what you will bake and boil what you will boil, and all that is left over lay aside to be kept till morning." So they laid it aside until morning, as Moses had commanded them, and it did not stink, and there were no worms in it. Moses said, "Eat it today, for today is the Sabbath to the Lord. Today you will not find it in the field. 6 days you shall gather it, but on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, there will be none." On the 7th day, some of the people went out to gather, but they didn't find anything. And the Lord said to Moses, "How long will you refuse to keep my commandments and my laws? See, the Lord has given you a Sabbath. Therefore, on the 6th day, he gives you bread for 2 days. Remain each of you in his place. Let no one go out of this place on the 7th day." So the people rested on the 7th day. This passage comes when the Israelites are in the wilderness, and God provides manna for them to collect daily, except on the Sabbath day. On the 6th day, they were instructed to gather twice as much so that they could rest on the Sabbath. There are times in our lives when plan and structure really is something that we should do, and we should actually plan rest with dedicated moments. That's something that God teaches Israel here in Exodus 16. There's a huge challenge for us to find rhythms in our daily lives, in our week-to-week rhythms, and our month-to-month expectations that really allow for deeper fellowship with God and with others, where we actually value spiritual growth over constant work. And I wonder if, in light of all that we've talked about today and this verse, if we need to take some time and plan out, look at the things that God has put in our rhythms and in our orders, and have some better structure. Like Dr. Kathy said, do we apologize to our kids, take the phone away, but then give them an opportunity to remain connected with our help so that they don't get addicted, or maybe even build those muscles so that they don't have that same addiction feeling? What other rhythms can we set up in their life that give them a break, that give them a Sabbath, and help them think and understand the design that God has for us? I really hope that you guys take some time this weekend to observe the Sabbath. Go to church, spend some time with friends, enjoy the good things that God has created. and step aside from all of the other things that are really addicting, that try to get you into a rhythm and a habit, that reframe your loves and labors and loyalties, longings, liturgies, with the express goal of making you captivated by them. Let's reframe our rhythms in the same way that God reframed Israel's rhythms, and give our kids a bright light to shine and cut through the darkness of these different addictions and social media platforms that are fighting for their hearts. I want to thank you for listening to the Celebrate Kids podcast, this daily segment Facing the Dark. And I want to make sure that you join us tomorrow for a special bonus episode where Dr. Kathy sits down with two of our really close friends and talks through their new book that they're launching here this week. So on behalf of Dr. Kathy Cook, my name is Wayne Stender. Thanks for listening today, and looking forward to seeing you here again tomorrow.